Hi everyone, Tom Larson here. Today's training session is on Google Classroom. Let's go ahead and get started. To begin with, you want to make sure that you pull up in your web browser this address here, tinyurl.com/Alcoa 8-11. That'll actually take you to this slide deck, and once here, you can click on the link here and access the resource doc, which I have pulled up right here. On this particular doc, you have not only the items that we'll be covering today, but these are also linked to more information on the web. Most of it is actually coming from Google. So all you have to do is go here to this resource doc, click on the link, and it'll take you right to where you can get more info. We'll say a little bit more about these buttons down here at the bottom as the training continues. I'm having to record this session today because during our live training session, I didn't actually have the present button pressed for my remote viewers. So while they saw my face while I was instructing, they weren't able to actually see what I was doing. The couple that actually were there for in-person saw everything, and so I apologize for that, but hopefully this recording will make things a bit more clear, and it'll actually be a better production for you. All right, so having said all that, let's just jump right in. I have a demo classroom already set up here, and here it is, and we're just basically covering the basics today. I'm also going to be sharing towards the end some of the newest features that just hit and went live. All right, so let's talk about editing your classroom details. So right now we're going to really focus on setting up your page. After you've initially created a classroom page, and let me actually go back here to classes so you can see we have all of our classes already listed here. If you need to create a new one for a class at the beginning of the school year, in the upper right hand corner, go ahead and click the plus symbol. As a teacher, that will allow you to create a class or join a class that is already out there. This page right here, it should be noted that these cards, quick access to your classes, can actually be rearranged. All you have to do is click and drag them into the order that you prefer. Right? Most people actually don't know about that. Also, on the pages or classes that you own, you have the ability to do a few things here. And what you'll need to do is look for that little three-dot menu there on each of the respective cards. And when you click that, you can see you have the option to move this around, just like you would if you clicked and dragged. Copy the invite link, edit the page, copy it, which is actually something very useful, or archive it. Basically what archiving does is it sort of puts it in the trash so that it's not visible here in this section. That can be useful if you have been using Google Classroom for a while and this area starts to get a little cluttered. Just archive your class, and if you need to bring it up at some point or pull some resources from it, you certainly can. All right, let's get back into the classroom here. All right. So there's information about your class that you'll probably want your students to know. And the way that we fix some of this or add to the information about our class or the description is to look for the gear icon in the upper right hand corner. You can see it right here. If we click that, that's going to take us to our class settings. From here, we can fill in more information regarding our class details, give it a section number if we want to, the room where we meet at, as well as the subject. This information, by the way, actually flows into Edlio. You'll remember our training a little while ago. We actually linked Google Classroom to our teacher websites, and that information, once it's entered in Google Classroom, it automatically syncs. And so when it comes to your classes, this is critical right here for filling in this area, because that's what people will see when they go to your website. All right. You can see there's a lot of other things here too, including information about the classroom codes, how you have information displayed on the stream, as well as some other items. Right. Let's close out of that. There's another area where you can get to settings, and that's actually over on the left-hand side here. Some folks don't know about this. Let me enlarge my screen just a little bit so we can maybe see this better. So if you look for your menu, main menu right here on the left, and you click that, If you scroll down, you're going to see this option here, the settings button. That's a little bit different than this one here. If you click here, you'll have the option to turn notifications on or off. If we turn them off, you're going to see we lose a lot of the options or areas that we can configure. Turning them on gives us control over most everything. How the comments are handled, where the notifications are going to be coming from, general class notifications. Again, you can turn these on or off. It's going to be entirely up to you. And this is where that is. All right, these controls are right here. All right, let's get back to our class. Here we are. And this next part is actually pretty fun. It's customizing the look and appearance of our Google Classroom. So the way we do that is to look for the Customize button. I have it right here. If we click that, we can choose from any number of preset, pre-designed photos or graphics. If we choose that icon, you can see there are several here. We also have them broken up by category. Here we have English and history. So if I were to choose one of these, let's say I want to pick this one over here on the right. I'll choose it and then click Select Class Theme. You can see what it'll do. It'll give us a preview, and then we have the option to select a theme color. By default, in this case, it selects orange because that goes and is coordinated with our graphic that we have on the top. All right, so if I click Save, you can see how it changes the appearance there. All right, my buttons here are now orange. If you want to go back and change that, just click Customize once more. You can pick a different one. All right, you can see some more here, math and science, there's art, sports, and then other. Now, if you don't like any of those and maybe want to bring in something that you've designed or somebody else has, no problem, you can do that as well. So for this, I like to use Canva. So let me open up a new tab here, and I'll go to canva.com. And if I just do a search for Google Classroom, look at all these. So I could pick any number of these and customize it and then use it as my banner. All right, so let me find one here that will work. Let's see here. There's just so many options here. Okay. Well, we're talking about technology, so let's say I want to grab this one right here. So I'll go ahead and click it. Okay, and in Canva, and we'll have other training sessions on how to use Canva, you can click on the titles here and just change what it says. Once you're finished with your design, we're going to click the Share button and then just download it. All right, so this is going to place this particular graphic in the Downloads folder. So then if I come back to my classroom and then go back here to Customize, I can choose Upload Photo. All right, I'll select a photo from my computer. It's in Downloads. Here it is. I'll click Open, and it brings it in. So at this point, I'm just going to resize or crop it rather a little bit. Move it over just slightly. There we go. We'll click Select. Oh, and there it is. And let me make the theme color purple as well. And I'll click Save. And you can see how it looks. All right. Once you've got your Google Classroom all set, the next thing you'll want to do is to invite students. You can do this a couple of ways. One easy way is once your students come to your classroom, we're speaking physically present in your room. If you have your computer hooked up to a projector or television, you can just tell them to go to Google Classroom and then enter the code that you give them. This is the code right here. So we can click Display, and that'll make that a little bit larger. Or we can click this icon here, Full Screen, and then everybody can see this. So once the students add this code into Google Classroom, they'll be enrolled in your class. Okay? And the way they would do that is to come back to Classes here. They would click plus, and then they would choose Join Class. That's where they would enter the code. Okay? get back into my class. The other way you could do this is you could go to the People tab. Right? If you clicked this icon right here, Invite Students, you could type in their name if you want to, or their email address rather, and it will email them the link. Or you could take this link right here, copy it, and perhaps post it to your classroom website. All they have to do is click on the link. It'll take them to Classroom, and they'll see the option to join your class. All right, so there are a number of ways for them to get into your classroom. All right. Okay, one last thing I didn't say about this banner area up here, this header. Over on the right, you have the View Class Information icon. If we click that, then all that info that we entered over here in Class Details, that's going to appear right here as well. Okay? That's just FYI. So this area right here is known as the classroom stream, and it works the same way a Facebook wall or a Twitter feed works. Announcements that are made will appear at the top, and it just flows from top to bottom. Also, if you are in Classwork and you add assignments, those will also appear here too. All right, so the way that we enter information is to just click inside this area right here. All right, and you start typing. While you cannot change the color here of the text, you are able to use some rich text formatting features, like making the text bold or italicized. We can do that, or even underlined. All right. You can post it immediately, or you can click this little icon here, the drop down arrow, and you could schedule it to appear a little bit later. Or if you know that it's not going to be finished at the time of writing, you could choose Save Draft and always come back to it later. This is what it looks like if we save a draft. Okay. You're going to see this saved announcement link. Students aren't going to see this. You click on it, and then you're actually able to come in here and continue typing. All right. You can add all kinds of content from your computer or from your Google Drive. You could add links here. You could add videos. Basically, whatever it is you want to put on your stream, you can. There's a brand new feature here in Google Classroom that lets you add a photo, but then it becomes sort of like a big poster that will appear next to your announcement. It's kind of a nice feature. I'd like to add it here for us if I can. So the way we do that is we just click Upload File. And I know this particular file is on my computer, so I'm going to click Browse. Okay, here it is. It's on my desktop. I'll go ahead and choose it. This is an animated GIF I created in, again, Canva. All right, so that'll upload it. And then when you add a picture, you'll see this little message right here that says Display Image. So we can do with that is to remove it as a display image or remove it altogether. So if we leave it as a display image, what's going to happen is that this picture, the graphic, will be seen alongside the announcement. This is a great way to draw attention to your posts. All right, let's show you what this looks like. I'll just click Post, and one more time. And here's what it looks like in the stream. All right, so that should definitely get your students' attention if they're coming back to your page. All right. Let me close out of this. Didn't mean to do that. All right, the next tab over is Classwork. All right, this is where your assignments are going to be housed. This is where you can quickly get to them, where you can create them, you can modify them. All right, all those are going to appear down the middle here, and then on the left-hand side, we have topics. We'll say more about that in just a second. People, that's going to be where everyone associated with your classroom is. All right, so that could be students or it could be fellow teachers. If you want to add a co-teacher who also has the ability to post to your stream and grade, all you need to do is click this plus symbol over here to invite the teacher, enter their name, and they'll be invited. It'll be up to them as to whether or not they actually join. All right, we already talked about students here. I should say that in this area you have some control over the actions of students. So, for example, if you had somebody join your classroom as a student that you didn't want to, you could remove them by clicking on these dots over here and then choosing the remove button. If you chose mute, this would prevent the student from making comments on your class, or you could email them directly if you wanted to with this link here. All right. And finally, over here on the right is where we have grades. So all the assignments that you post, those grades are going to show up in this area right here. Okay? All right, let's come back to this stream. So let's say a little bit more about topics. Topics are very important, and that's going to help students find information much more quickly. In the classwork section, I'm going to highly recommend that everyone watching this video, if you're using Google Classroom, to add topics to your assignments. This keeps them organized. I actually have a unit where I taught how to use the Google Workspace tools, and I used Google Classroom as my learning management system. And so I'm going to go over there. This is what my actual college course looked like. And if we go to Classwork, you can see I have all of these topics over here. So the students who took this course, they can quickly get to any of the modules. And you can label these whatever you want. It can be broken down by maybe the name of the unit, the week, whatever. That's going to be entirely up to you. I just labeled mine modules 1, 2, 3, and 4, so on and so forth. And so what happens here is students who are in Classwork, they can click on the links here or the topics, and it'll take them directly to that section. All right, it's pretty handy, pretty convenient. All right. Your topics can be rearranged. All you have to do is click and drag, and that will move them. You also have the option here by clicking on the dots to move them down or up, depending on where they are. All right. This create button here will allow you to create new topics. So you simply click that option and you type in the topic name. Let's say I want to say Unit 4. I can click Add, and it will appear over here at the very top. All right. Let's come back here to the stream. All right. Again, this is where we will announce things, and anything by default that you add in terms of assignments will automatically also appear here as an announcement. All right. Now, if you're not careful, your stream can get kind of cluttered. And I should tell you at this point that there is a way to clean that up. And if we go back to our settings over here, if we scroll down, you can see that there's this little section on the stream. All right. Classwork on the stream, you can have the option to show all the attachment and details, show condensed notifications. This will make things a little tidier. Or you could hide them all together and just have the only thing appear in the stream, just simple announcements. All of your classwork will remain in the classwork section. All right? Those are your options there. All right, let me get out of this. Okay. So announcements are going to be slightly different from class comments. All right, class comments are going to be associated with assignments or work that you've given to the students. All right. So, for example, if we go to, I don't want to save that. That's fine. We'll get out of here. If we go to one of my assignments, Chapter 1 assignment, I can click on that and then actually view the assignment. It will take me here. Each assignment has its very own page. It's broken up into two different sections. You have the student work area, all right, which is where you will see the submitted work. All right, you can sort of think of this as maybe a basket on your desk where students bring and place their work. All right, this is our virtual basket here. All right, and then you also have the instructions. All right, this is where you can enter instructions for this particular assignment, and you can speak to the entire class specifically about this assignment. All right, so if you want everyone to have a little bit more information, or maybe there were some specifics that you feel like you need them to know and have while they're working on the assignments, this is going to be the place to do it. Just click inside here, enter your text, and you can send it. And so whenever they come to the assignment page, they'll see that. Students also have the option to respond to these, but keep in mind, because it's an assignment, everyone who has been assigned the work will see those comments as well. All right? All right. Let's come back here to our classwork. There are also feedback comments, and feedback comments are going to be associated with individual students. So I'm going to go back to this assignment here. All right, and this particular student actually submitted it. So if I want to interact with just this student and not the others in the class, I can do that. So this would be the same as you having a classroom full of students and you only want to speak to one child. So you call their name, they come up to your desk, and then it's just you and the student having a conversation. That's basically what we're going to do here. You're giving them the feedback in the classroom. We're giving them individual feedback right here virtually. So the first thing I need to do is go ahead and choose the student, and I'll click on their work. So when I do that, it's going to take me right here. I, at this point, can see what they have submitted. This is called enhanced feedback, and it allows me to quickly grade and provide feedback from one student to the next. Right now, I'm looking at Alcoa Student 5's work, and if I want to grade this right here, I can. You can see I already graded this earlier. That's fine. I can add a private comment and post that. Only that student will see it. Or if there are things here in the work that are concerning to me that we need to talk about, I could call attention out to them. So let me just clear out of that. So let's say this area right here needs some work. I can go ahead and select it, and then I can come over here to my comment bank, and I can use any one of these comments that I have already created that I can quickly use and place inside of the student's work. So this one I created earlier. You can see it says this section is plagiarized. Please provide citation information. All right. So I'll just copy that, and then I'll click right here, and I'll add my comment and paste it in. There we go. So now when the student takes a look at this, this is assignment 1. I'm going to switch over. Okay. I'm not sure if I can do this. Yeah, there we are. This is what the student view looks like. If they go to Classwork, and they go to assignment 1, and they view their assignment, they click on it, here's what it looks like to them. And there's the comment that their teacher just made. All right? Pretty neat. I said you could also grade from here. You do that by just clicking up here on this field, entering the grade, and then posting it. When you're done with this student, you could go to the next student by clicking the arrows back and forth, or jump directly to them. I only have one student who's submitted this for this demo. All right. So this is what enhanced feedback looks like. And again, this is just for individual students, not for the entire class to see. All right. Next, let's quickly talk about Guardian summaries. So if I come back here to my classroom and we go to People, you can see that there's this little option here beside the student's name. It says Invite Guardians. So this can be a parent, legal guardian of the student. If you want to keep them up to speed on what is happening in your class, you can choose to invite them via email, and they will receive a daily or weekly summary of all the things that you're doing in your class that have been posted into Google Classroom. All right, so you simply click right here, Invite Guardians, enter their email address. They'll receive the email, and then they'll get that summary as often as they choose to receive it. Those summaries are actually, if you want to see what a summary looks like, if we go back here to our gear and then scroll down, you'll see right here, Guardian Summaries. It is checked, so we do have the option to send those off. If I click See Example, here we are. This is what one of those email summaries looks like. Okay, and they'll actually receive summaries for every other Google Classroom inside the domain, provided those teachers has turned on Guardian Summaries as well. Okay? All right. Let's come back to our classroom. All right, so to create an assignment, what you're going to do is inside Classwork, you'll click Create, and then you'll choose Assignment. You'll give your assignment a name. All right, here you can add instructions. Again, you have rich text formatting if you want to utilize those. You can attach items to your assignment. It could be content from your drive, could be a video from YouTube. You could create a document on the fly if you wanted to. All right, or you could upload something that was saved on your computer locally, and then you also have the option to insert a link here as well. So if we go to Drive, all right, let me see if I can find a Google Doc. Anything on Google Docs. Okay, so here's a doc right here. I'll click Insert. All right, now look here. This document that I've attached to the assignment, students can view this file. All right, that's fine. But what if it is a document that you actually want them to complete and work on their own? All right, you have the option to edit the file, which that means every student is going to be editing the same file, or you can make a copy for each student. And this is most likely what you're going to want to do. Make a copy for each student. Okay, I will say that this option only appears the first time you create the assignment. All right, so if you assign something and then you have to come back into the assignment and change things a bit, you don't have the option to make a copy at that point. Only these two. All right. Once you're satisfied with your changes over here, come on over to the right hand side, decide how many points this is going to be worth, if it's going to have a due date, okay, what topic, remember we talked about topics earlier, we'll say this is for Unit 4, and then we also have rubrics, okay. Rubric is going to be basically just a little bit of information that helps the students understand how they'll be graded. All right, so you could create one here by clicking the little plus button and then selecting Create Rubric. You can reuse a rubric that was created in another assignment, or you can import a rubric from Google Sheets. All right, and I actually have what one of those looks like. This is a rubric inside of Google Sheets that could then be imported into Classroom. All right, and if I go back here to the class I mentioned earlier, for all of my modules in this college level course, I had the assignments and then a rubric attached to each assignment. So if the student were to click on the rubric, they would see the score that they would get based on their performance. Okay? That's the sort of thing you can do as well. All right. You have the option to, at this point, go ahead and assign this to your class, or click the drop-down menu, and you can choose Schedule. And if you choose Schedule, that way you can have this go live at a later date. Right? Or if you know that you're not quite finished putting the touches on this assignment, you have some more work left to do in terms of instructions or maybe resources that you attach here, you can save this as a draft and then come back to it later. Okay? Grading and returning assignments is actually quite easy. All you have to do is go to the assignment here, click View Assignment, and in the Student Work area, you will see all of those appear. At this point, you can give them a grade, which is what I've done. Select it. I've already returned this assignment, by the way, and then you click the Return button, and it'll go back. This is sort of like a student is given a worksheet in your classroom. They complete it, and then they physically turn it back into you. That's what we're doing here. The student does not have the ability to edit or make changes to the document once it's been turned in until you return it back to that student. All right? I want to make that clear. Just like they couldn't work on it if they've physically given you the piece of paper the assignment was printed on. They no longer have access. Once it's submitted, they don't have access until you return it. All right? Okay. At this point, I want to say a little bit about grading and the integration with Skyward. Now, because I don't teach an actual class here in the district, I can't link up Google Classroom with Skyward. But if I was going to do that, I would click on the gear and then scroll down, and you have this option right here. It says to export grades to the SIS, link this class to your SIS class. In this case, it's Skyward. So we would click Link to Class. Now it's going to tell me that I'm not connected with anything. See, no classes found for T. Larson. That's okay. I actually found a very useful video on YouTube that takes us through these steps, and we're going to watch that right now.
Your grades with Google Classroom and in this video, we are going to show how to sync your grades with Google Classroom and Skyward, our Student Information System, or SIS. So first, you'll need to open up Google Classroom and then open up one of your classes that you want to sync grades in. And in the upper right, click on that Settings gear and then scroll down to General, and you will see a new Link to Class button. Click on that and it will bring up your Skyward classes. You might want to have Skyward open so that you can make sure to link the correct Skyward class name with your class. So once you click on the Skyward class name, you can click Link and it will link to your class. You'll want to make sure it is the right semester and the right course code. Then in your grade book, you will have an SIS export button in the upper right. You can click on that and it will bring up your assignments. You can check any of the assignments that you want and click SIS export in the bottom, and that will sync that assignment into your Skyward gradebook. So it will bring over the assignment title and your numerical grades. So it will bring over any grade that you have returned to your students. You do have to return that grade for it to bring it over. So we're going to bring up our Skyward gradebook, and there's our assignment. So it has all of those grades in Skyward. So we're going to show that process one more time. Open up a class, click on the Settings gear. Under General, click Link to Class and bring up your Skyward classes. So again, you need to make sure that it is the correct Skyward class code that you are linking. And then you can link and go to your gradebook. One limitation is in the assignment title, it needs to be under 30 characters, which is the assignment title limitation in Skyward. So as long as the assignment title fits in Skyward, then it will sync correctly. You can sync an assignment as many times as you need. You'll see that grade updates will show you how many grades updates have happened since you have clicked sync or export. And all you'll have to do is click that SIS export button in the upper right whenever you want to export your grades and send those over to your Skyward gradebook.
Okay, there you go. Pretty nice having that feature, and you can take advantage of that here in our district. So let me come back here to Google Classroom, and I should tell you that that video, if you want to go back and watch that, the resource doc that we shared with you earlier, I actually put a link to that video right here under SIS export, okay, as well as a support article with information that will relate to that whole process. All right. I want to talk real quickly about the newest feature inside of Google Classroom that has brought in add-on integration. So you may not see this button on your Google Classroom, or if we go to Classwork and oh, you know what? Hold on a second here. There we are. I wasn't seeing my create button. I got to scroll to the top here. Click create, and then we go to assignment. All right. You might not see these either. All right. So these add-ons, basically, they're third-party services that many of you use. Kahoot is a well-known one. Nearpod, Edpuzzle, Pear Deck. Basically what it does is it takes these third-party tools and it integrates them into Classroom. So when you post them inside your Google Classroom and the student clicks on them, it's not taking them outside of Classroom. It keeps them in Classroom while they can work on things. I'm going to show you how this actually all works together, and it's pretty slick. This feature is not available for standard Google Workspace clients. However, several of you in our district have the enterprise version that we have enabled, and we have actually many more licenses that we can give you. We can assign to your account, and so if you're interested in this feature, just let me know. We can turn it on, and then you'll have access to these things here. All right, so I'm going to just say Kahoot assignment right here. All right, or if you don't want to title it, you can just go right to the add-on and then click on it. All right, so in this case I'm going to click on Kahoot. This will link to my Kahoot account, and you can see that I have a quiz in there I already created. I'm going to go ahead and add it here. All right, you can give it a due date and time just like you would see in Google Classroom. Some options. We'll click create. All right. And for some reason, it acts a little bit finicky. Let me try it one more time. Create. Let's see if that goes through now. There it is. There's my assignment. All right. Brought in all that information, and we can also add a topic to this. We'll say this is chapter 1, and then we'll assign it. Okay. So let's see what this looks like on the student side. All right. So if they go back to their Google Classroom, go to Classwork, you can see here it is, actually their Google Classroom quiz. If they click on it, oh, it's a Kahoot. Now watch what happens when I click on it. It's not going to take me out of Classroom. I'm going to stay in here. See? I'm still in Google Classroom. All right. They can go ahead and get started with it. Okay. Google Classroom is free for educators. True or false? True. All right, so let's say they went through all the questions. At that point, what they would do is click Turn In and turn in one more time. And then they're back to Classroom. Of course, they never left, right? And as the teacher, I can come back here to Classwork, and here's my, actually, one second here. I should have some, here it is, Chapter 1, Google Classroom Quiz. I can click on that and then view the assignment, and then here's what the student just turned in. All right. And again, I can give them a grade here if I want to. All right, and then return it. Pretty nice. And that add-on integration that's built in to Classroom now, it works the same way with the other services. Nearpod, Edpuzzle. Here's what it looks like with Edpuzzle. I'll just go ahead and click on it. Some of you use Edpuzzle quite a bit. Again, you want to connect your account. First time you set this up, it'll show you how to do that, walks you through that process. Choose the video that you want them to view, and then click Assign. Couple options here. Assign one more time. And there it is. It says it was successfully added. All right, then we click Assign. Student is going to see that appear. Here it is. Let me refresh my page here. That just came in. It's an Edpuzzle. I forgot to put a due date on that. Make sure you all do, as well as a topic whenever you create these assignments. We'll click on it as a student. And again, they're still inside Google Classroom. We'll start the video.
Hello.
All right. And then they, of course, can turn it in. All right. Okay, finishing up here. A couple more things. Remember when we went all digital? We had some challenges with Google Meet. Actually, all the video conferencing software that was out there, they've grown by leaps and bounds, but in the early stages of them, we were finding lots of problems, specifically in the area of controlling access and limiting what students can or can't do during a live meeting, as well as how to get to the live meeting, right? So Google Classroom has some really great features now that integrate with Google Meet. And you can see right now that with each Google Classroom class, you have a specific link that is tied to Google Meet. So anytime you need to go virtual, all you have to do is come back here to your Google Classroom and click the Join button. And your students can do this as well. You don't have to send them the Meet link. All that aggravation is taken away. It is really that simple. So if you click Join, Meet is going to appear, and then you can join it. All right, students cannot join the Meet unless you are there. They also cannot stick around after you leave. All right, these are new controls that teachers asked for, and they've been great in making them go live and giving us what we need. All right, currently the link to Google Meet is not visible to students. I do have it on my stream. If I want to make it visible to students, all right, I'm going to click here, and then I can go to Manage. And if I just toggle this on and then click Done, that will appear on the student stream. So if I go over here, back to the stream, we'll refresh this page here. Ah, there it is. All the student has to do is click Join. All right. If we click Manage once more, you can see that We have the option to reset that Meet link if we want to, or remove it altogether, or we could copy it and paste it somewhere, perhaps our teacher website. All right. Again, if you don't want students joining that Google Meet, you can just simply turn it off, and now they don't have access. All right. Well, we didn't go too terribly in depth here. I wanted to hit on a lot of the key parts of Google Classroom. To really learn more, please reference this resource doc. You're going to find links there that will help you do exactly what it is you want to do. Most of them, as I said before, are from Google, so they're actually very good. Last thing I do want you to do is check out these buttons down here on the bottom of the resource page. I do have a best practices video that I created about a year ago that would be good for you all to watch. Just gives you some do's and don'ts in terms of what you should and shouldn't be doing inside of Google Classroom. All right, it's about 6.5 minutes long. It's worth your while to check that out. All right, a direct link to Google Classroom Help. This is the main page from Google, all about Classroom. And then if you watch this video in its entirety, you are entitled to a certificate. So at this point, just click on this link here, open up the Google form, enter your name as you would like it appear on your certificate, enter the date that you watched it. Of course, this is the Google Classroom training, so make sure to select it in your session title. Check the option here for 1 hour and then submit. And in about 15 seconds, you'll receive an email with a nice certificate with your name on it, indicating that you completed this workshop. All right, that's all we have for today. Again, thank you for viewing this. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me via email, tlarson@alcoaschools.net. Have a great day.